Thanks to all of your lovely support. We have brand new technological advancements, so you should be able to see me much more clearly and hear me much more clearly. Different, huh? Loud and clear, right? Much better than prior Spreecast. So I won't lie to you, I'm immensely nervous every single time I channel this one. I try to meditate for a few days and try to go into it, but I have immense stage fright in channeling him. When I bring him in all the way in where I can see his presence in front of me, it always ends up making me cry. So I'm going to try not to do that, but I cannot make any promises because he's an amazing being. I'll give you a little bit about my background. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Pamela Erlin. I'm a clear conduit channel. I've been channeling since age 5. And, you know, my first experience with channeling was with an archangel. You know, for those of you who don't know my story, I'll just quickly run it by. Basically, you know, I was awakened out of sleep. I was somewhere between ages 4 and 5.5, and I saw something bright and tall and full of love. And I walked up because he called me. And when I did that, he touched me here and said, "Now you see." And he touched me on my ear and said, "Now you hear." Touched me on my heart and said, "Now you feel." And then touched me on my head and said, "Now you know." So those were all of my gifts. That's the age that they came in. And then from that moment, I remember my world immediately opened. Like literally, I looked up at the ceiling in my room and there wasn't a ceiling. There was just ether. And there was all of the beings that I currently channel today. You know, many archangels, many ascended masters, many, many beings. Many. So that's what I've been doing since then. But growing up in a very religious climate, it was a little bit difficult to go into a Southern Baptist background with a family who, when you try to mention that you saw something, they would say, "Oh, you're an imaginative child," or, "Oh, you know, are you sure that you didn't dream that and you're just having a dream?" So I had some of my family members were incredibly supportive, but then others were kind of like always questioning and always trying to discern exactly what was going on. So I thank all of you for being here today. We do this channeling normally once a year on Easter. We did it twice last year because we wanted to see if we could bring him in trance. But I just really preferred to bring him in a way that I could actually see his presence, where I was actually there, because it just feels so much better to me. So that's that. I prefer that method of channeling. Trance channeling, just I get so deep in the trance that I almost fall asleep. And then it's hard to get me to come to and all those sort of things. So I want to let you guys know how Spreecast works. Essentially speaking, we've run out of questions. We're going to try to get through the hundreds of them that are here today. However, there are just so many. So if we get through all those questions, then you may begin to, I'll delete them from the queue. I am looking at a live interactive chat, and those of you who are here know that. I'm doing this also so that YouTube knows, because we got a lot of flack about that in our last 2 Yeshua channelings, where people were saying, "You're reading from screens and I see your eyes going back and forth." And I'm like, yes, my eyes are going everywhere. I've got beings over here, I've got beings over there, and I'm reading your questions. I'm also listening to your reactions and watching your reactions on chat, so I'm reading all the time. So I want to make that clear that yes, I'm reading your questions from the screen. So yes, you will see my eyes going back and forth. I don't know why that was such a problem in the last 2 channelings where people were saying that. So today I want to give you a little bit of a background about what he looks like when he comes in through me, because people ask that question. And they ask questions like, what does he call himself? He has been calling himself Yeshua of Nazareth. If he comes in through his Ascended Master Presence, he will call himself Serapis Bey. There are many different names that he goes by, and those are the 3 that I've noticed that when I channel him in, he will say, I'm Yeshua of Nazareth, or I'm Serapis Bey. So that's normally what he will say to me. Normally, when I bring him in, I will see him come in as a pillar of light first. It is golden in its nature, so it's gold and a little bit of white there at the top. And then I begin to see a literal presence where he does come in and show himself as a man. It doesn't really look to me like what people depict in their religious books and scriptures. Not at all. Sorry about that. Sorry to let you down. There's no blue eyes and beautiful white skin and all that. He's beautiful, but it just doesn't look like what you guys are thinking. There is a bit of a tone that I hear also because I'm clairaudient. So when he comes in, I hear a tone, and I do have perfect pitch, so I can identify it as 936. So this is a crown chakra frequency that I always hear whenever I call him in. He's been with me very, very strongly for a few days now, and we've been just practicing everything that he wants to talk about and making sure. Someone's saying that they don't have sound. Hopefully, can you let me know? It's back on? Did it just go in and then back out? Was that just you, or did it happen to everyone else? Okay. Because if you run out of sound, just refresh your screen and it'll pull you right back in. But I just wanted to make sure that I didn't have a sound problem. Okay, so anyway, I hear 936, and then I see a pillar of light. It is gold with a little bit of white at the top. It looks like a light well. So at the bottom, there's sort of a round nature, something that's round, and then light springs up from it. And it comes in that way where it seems like it comes down in front of me, like straight down from whatever vicinity of atmosphere, the air, the room, wherever I am when I call him in. And then I begin to see a dark skin. You know, this isn't even olive. This is very dark skin. Not dark, you know, to the extent that I would say, okay, this would look like a Sumerian, darker skin Egyptian, but almost, okay? The hair is long. That degree of depiction from many of the pictures is accurate. The eyes are unusual. They're not blue. They're not green. They're not brown. When I see his eyes, they look like hazel, but there's a golden tone, almost like a very golden brown that has specks of green and specks of everything. And then there's an outline that's very golden, like a very thin outline. People have asked me before, does he wear sandals? I don't particularly pay attention to his feet. I've noticed them sometimes, and then sometimes I just don't pay attention. So yes, I have seen them. Not today. Today the robe is covering. And yes, there is a robe. People have asked me, you know, is there a robe? And there is, and it is white. And there's a bit of a sash that sometimes shows gold. And then if he comes in as Serapis Bey, I see gold and purple. So I've seen it in different varieties. And is there anything else you want to know for those of you watching in live chat about his appearance? If not, I'll go ahead and channel him in. We're just going to channel him in for just a few minutes. He tries to keep his statements short, but he's normally not good at it. He likes to talk. And I do too, so it's a good channeling combination. And again, how I would describe him. Someone is asking, can you describe his color more? And there's lighter, much lighter than the standard Sumerian Egyptians, but darker than the standard Jews of that time. Somewhere in between. Does that make sense? Yeah. Hopefully that is helping. Yeah. What age is he presenting himself? He presents himself in his enlightened form around age 31. So somewhere between 30 and 31 is what I'm getting. Does he have a beard? Yes, he absolutely does. And it's, yeah, a very nice one. Someone is asking, does he emanate the pink and blue rays from his heart? Sometimes. It depends upon what the person needs. Yeshua represents the divine feminine, from my perspective at least. That's what I've noticed. And as he has evolved more, he's beginning to represent from an egalitarian approach, which combines the divine feminine and the divine masculine. So it depends upon what he's really trying to get someone to work on. If you really need to work on your heart center, then yeah, you know, that does, you know, work. And he does seem to emanate a lot of pink and greens coming from the heart area. And then when I particularly need to work on compassion, he sends it right from his heart chakra immediately into mine. And it just goes from one area of the heart center in him straight into where my heart center would lie. So yes. Does he smile with his eyes? Well, no. He does smile, but he doesn't need to, but he does sometimes. He does have a very funny sense of humor. When he talks to me, he speaks to me from a human perspective that's actually going to make me a lot less nervous, so he does tend to be humorous. But mostly I just feel love. Yeah, I just feel so much love when I'm around him. I woke up this morning and I was telling someone, oh my gosh, I feel so much love. Like I feel like I just want to hug everyone. So when I'm around him, that's kind of, the best level of me that can possibly be, because one of my purposes here is acceptance and love and compassion. It's a very compassionate service-based purpose. So yeah, that's normally I just feel a lot of love. So I'm going to try to channel him in now without crying, and hopefully that will be successful. And then we'll go ahead and get to your questions. So just sit back and relax. And he's standing over here behind my computer, and I'm just going to watch him for a bit, zone you guys out. I'm going to try not to pay attention to chat. I'm just going to try to listen to exactly what he's saying so that I can repeat it back to you. Beloved ones, humanity is nearing a necessary and exciting turning point. Your collective beliefs are the key to these turn of events. Being peaceful, calm, and individually quickening, humanity has been balancing a precarious collective belief that seems to vacillate between fear and acceptance. 2016 is a year of purification that will assist you in reaching into the depths of your full potential as human beings, so that you may begin your own individual journeys into your spiritual purposes for being here on planet Earth. I'm here with you today to remind each of you to approach your journeys with individual attention to your heart centers. Please refrain from allowing the thinking states of your being from taking over. Now is the time to trust. I'm speaking through many of you, but your lack of trust and questioning of your own discernment is preventing you from forming belief systems that replace and heal fear. Fear is the collective conscious problem in humanity that holds you back from all you seek in your purposes here. Belief has been the problem for the past 4,000 years of your journey here. I'm here to help you understand that belief is also the key to healing fear. Is your belief your problem, or is it your solution? The choice is now in your hands, more so than ever before. And as many of you are feeling and knowing, my teachings have been strongly distorted. Many of the spiritual texts you are told are the way, the truth, and the light are vast misinterpretations. You are taught to take these teachings literally, and I'm here to help you understand that the majority of the Bible, even, is a spiritual metaphor. Religion has been turned into a system of control and oppression, control of beliefs, and beliefs affect the heart center in a way that is fear-based in the majority of your religions here on earth. However, if you shun religion, you do so out of fear of something. Please accept that your way and path to love and truth will be unique to each of you. Some believe that they find my light in a church building. Please allow them to do so, even if you know in your heart that many of these teachings are distorted. Truth can be found in doses within everything, even in religion. The reason for this is that the truth is in your hands. Please don't venture within religions if they cause your hearts to close and build walls between you and spirit. If a religion is not for you, which is the case for many of you who know pure truth, then venture far from these confines. If you feel and believe that you require religion to get closer, what is the harm in doing so? Your beliefs guide you. If you refrain from fear as a guidance method in any of your paths, then this will be needed. Any life path, any spiritual teaching, or lack thereof will indeed help you and serve you if you reverse the space of lack. For those of you who believe nothing, you are indeed an empty vessel. Fill your hearts with something that connects to purity and to love. To do otherwise would mean you are allowing an empty space for any and all kind of beliefs that permeate your being at some point, including fear. When you consider what a belief is, consider that it is a connection point, an emotion. It comes from your heart centers, which was given to you as a compass. If you believe in nothing, you have no compass. This is not always bad for you initially, but if fear permeates your heart centers, even in the slightest manner, it can cause for feelings of lack, feelings of isolation, feelings that you are perpetually and hopelessly alone. You're not alone. The time is approaching where the church is ready and humanity is ready to dig deeper and find deeper distortions and misunderstandings within what you called my word. A calm, centered disclosure of truth beyond this planet will be the beginning stages of the unveiling that is about to occur. Acceptance that life did not begin here will be the disclosure coming very soon. This will have to be handled closely and cautiously, but nonetheless, writings that hereto have been considered holy and unquestioned by many will now be put before the test of ultimate truth. New information will be coming forward by various means, and the true meanings of everything that exists will be disclosed. You are one interconnected family, and I must admit, the proprietary mindset of the religions of earth, each thinking that they have the one truth, the one light, the one way. No one has the full truth, nor the only truth. There is no one organized religion here on earth today that is free from being misunderstood, misinterpreted, or deliberately distorted. There are many deliberately distorted passages in my scriptures. These passages have led to actions, behaviors, and beliefs that are not consistent with the human family of earth that is this one energetically interconnected family. I would ask for those of you and for your spiritual families to begin to consider that the human family of earth is energetically interconnected, every single member to every single other member. And I would ask you to consider what that means to you in your daily lives, and especially what that means to you in your daily life when anger and frustration for another human being arises within you. Anger is covering your fears. Fear is a problem that is preventing your ascension into truth and light and oneness. I would ask you especially to understand what that means, to ask yourself, and what that means when you pass judgment onto another person. I would ask you to focus and bring the light of compassion into every situation wherein you see injustice and anger. Whatever it takes in your worldview to soothe that anger, and bring instead the light, a prayer, a meditation, a kind word, a deliberate act of compassion and energy sent from you to other people. Do this Step into your emotional action this year. Thinking about sending love and compassion is beautiful, and your actions mean more at this precarious stage of humanity's evolution. If you can begin to do this, you're taking a step towards healing all of the injuries that exist within this human family here on Earth. And when the injuries exist for the human family and they begin to heal, Earth can begin to heal. I would ask you to begin thinking and feeling in this way because it's time for the human family to focus on healing themselves. This begins individually by acceptance of self. Acceptance is the first step for self-love, which is required for the collective to eliminate the current problems of fear. Each one of you can aid in this progress simply by the way you live your daily lives and your show of compassion to other humans. And remember, every kind word you say, whether you think it is entirely justified, deserved, or not, is a moment of spontaneous healing. Every unkind word you say, whether you believe it is entirely justified or not, is a moment of spontaneous frustration. And every unkind word takes a light out of the environment and in its place instills darkness. This is energetic universal law. It cannot be avoided. This is energetic truth. Be mindful of this. And this I ask with love. I love you. Okay, I made it through without crying, almost. All right, now we can start to take his questions. And I will continue to attempt not to cry. Okay, let me scroll down and look at some of these. He's just so amazing. Okay, one of the questions is, where was the Last Supper, or is there one? Was there one? He said there was. However, this ritual predates your biblical era, and this can be traced to pagan understanding and wisdoms. I hope that answered your question. Ask more if you want more details, please, on anything that he says, and we'll ask it in a different way. Okay, let's take another one of your questions. Some of these I have written down here, and then some of them are in the viewer questions and suggestions box. And when I find those, I'll be putting them on the screen above. Another question is, was Mary Magdalene at the Last Supper? And if so, how did Da Vinci know? He said, she blessed us with her lovely presence. Da Vinci knew this due to his gifts of channeling and his loving visions, which were given to him through my Oversoul Serapis Bay. Well, that's good to know. Okay. He understood the records quite well. The life records, he corrects me. Do you mean the Akashic? He's nodding. Okay. Yeah, Da Vinci was a channeler. Surprise. I knew that. But it's fun. It's fun for him to confirm it. Let's look at one of your other questions. Who wrote the Old Testament is one of your questions. Okay. It's a good one. I already know the answer, but I'm just going to repeat it. These books are written by royal propagandists in order to give sanction to the king's actions. Yeah, not a shocker there. Deuteronomy, for example, is a composite work written in different time periods. Please look closely at the individual passages, which leave clues for you to know that the Babylonian exile of the 6th century BC had actually already happened. These passages were added at a later date. Okay. Next question. Where is the Ark of the Covenant? Everywhere, and selectively for a while in Axum, Ethiopia. Hope I said that appropriately. Okay. Let's take another one of your questions. I'm just scrolling through. For some reason, I'm not seeing my full screen, so I'm not able to see. Maybe I don't have it scrolled up. Brand new computer, brand new stuff to figure out. Sorry about that. Okay, how do we let go of physical pain? Sink within it, invite it, understand that it is not of you. Therefore, how can it control you? It is not you. You are not your body. You are not the physical. You cannot die. Nothing that exists can be destroyed. Sink into the emotion that is underlying your pain. There is always one. Go within and feel what caused the pain. Sink into every atom of the pain. Understand that it cannot hurt you, cannot kill you. Suffering is external. Step outside of your body thereafter and view suffering in a manner that does not belong to you. You are not owned. Thank you. Okay, let's take another question here. I'm still learning how to work this new computer that you guys so lovingly supported me to have so I could continue my work. Okay, and then when I click on a question, then it doesn't go where I want it to go. Good times. Okay, and you can see the questions up here when I get them there. Beloved Yeshua, thank you for being with me and the love I feel from you. Can you share something new about the Essenes and perhaps the energetic word of Esana? Thank you, I'm eternally grateful. He states, the Essenes comes from the word flow, and it comes from the word flower. Many of your depictions of flower of life are accurate, and they come from the Essenes. Yeah, that was new. Thank you. I didn't know that. Interesting. Let me scroll down and grab another question. I'm going to start moving as quickly as possible because he overwhelms me with so much love, and I feel like I'm not able to get in the questions if I'm just sitting here crying and moving so slowly in my speech because it's just so beautifully overwhelming. Okay. How do we end the dark night? You mean the dark night of the soul? Yes. Okay. Does our soul already have a set date, or can we end it anytime we like? Those emotions are there for your awareness levels. When the emotions are identified, when you no longer attach suffering to the emotion, then you no longer fear it, and then the dark night ceases at your will. Nothing circumvents your free will. Step into the flow of your personal empowerment. Thank you. Let's take another one here. I'm just taking them in the order that I'm given. Dear Yeshua, please, can you share how you feel about the teachings of Saint Matt and the path of the masters. As within many of teachings that have permeated through man's wisdom, there have been many fallacies and misunderstandings. I urge you to seek your personal connections with ascended masters that come through your soul stream, but I urge you to seek the truth. And I urge you to understand that the truth is something that can only be found within your heart centers and within your compass. Release fear. Step back from propaganda. Step back from your conspiracies. Understand that if fear is attached, the truth likely is not. However, understand that many of the knowledge that you seek from the masters are still going to be distorted if the knowledge comes through the filter of the human word. This should not stop you from your seeking. You are seekers by nature. You are ancient, wise, divine beings of light. However, use discernment. It is a gift that you have highly released. And you would state that what is discernment to me? Do not underrate or underestimate this gift. Your discernment is important to release your fear so that you can manage, digest, and process the truth. Then you will understand the truth not as a conspiracy. Take it in smaller doses. Slow down. Breathe. When you fear, focus on your breath, and you will understand the truth and the path of the masters, but do not allow for the obvious distortions from the filter of man that comes through most of the words and most of your teachings. Thank you. Just scrolling down to find another question. And also trying to figure out a new mouse that scrolls the opposite way from the old mouse. I'm grateful. Thank you guys for your support. Okay. Come on, mouse. No, scroll that way. Okay. Hi, Yeshua. I feel disconnected and alone. How can one bring unity and connectedness into their lives? Understand the shadow and understand the light. Understand duality and do not relate it to suffering when you are walking within the shadow, when you are walking within the dark. Understand that consciousness means you accept the light and the dark. Consciousness does not mean that the dark is evil. In order to be united and connected, you understand that being alone too is safe and acceptable, that being alone is okay. Because when you understand and accept your fear of being alone, then you understand that you are not and that you never have been. You are not alone. You are always connected. Your fear and your conscious states of being has permeated your mind, and your mind has become the enemy to teach you something that isn't true. Release these teachings by releasing your fear, but first you must accept if your mind states that you are alone and you resist this, then you fear. If your mind states that you are alone and you validate and you accept, acceptance is a path towards love, which brings truth, then you shall no longer feel alone. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to get it this time. I'm going to make that mouse do what I want it to do and scroll through and find another question. Oh, that's a good one. Okay. What is the energetical impact of your image being, what's the energetical impact of your image being put on crosses around the world? I don't wish nor would I consider to bring resistance into your paths. However, the human fractal of myself does not relate to the image of the cross. And it never did. I didn't die. I resurrected a portion of myself that was different from the human nature and the human fractal of my oversoul. This was what you call a near-death experience. Now he's walking across the room a little bit. Okay, we're going to go over here now. That's good. Thank you. A soulmate question. I love soulmate questions. What could I possibly do to get closer to my soulmate? I'm hugely in pain because I feel like I'm waiting in vain. You do not feel that you are waiting in vain. You think you are waiting in vain. Please understand that the thought process is your enemy, which causes the feeling to change and sway from the actual truth. Question what you believe is a feeling and what you believe is a truth. This shall release the prison of your thoughts so that you understand and waiting no longer applies. Then time will not feel as if it is suffering. All right, don't make me cry. All right, moving on to another question. That's really, he's so sweet. All right. Oh, crucifixion question. Did you really die and rise from the dead 3 days later, or did Constantine lie about that? He states, well, that was a massive misinterpretation of what death actually is. Examine the nature of death, examine the nature of birth and rebirth. Your answer lies therein. I did not die. I was quickened. My body was quickened. My body was different. It was what humans would call a near-death experience. Thank you. Let's take another question. I'm getting used to my mouse and the scrolling feature now. Invincible. Oh, we're going to have a question about a deity. I like Ishtar. I would definitely answer that question because she is one of the fractals of my oversoul. One of many. Okay. Is the goddess Ishtar to be more celebrated on this day, since that's where Easter originated, for sex and fertility, or shall we remain focused on the story of your rising for our sins? He said, perhaps neither. Why should any deity be more celebrated on any day? Why should any day be more celebrated than others when time does not exist? Celebrate the divine feminine for those of you who feel that you need to connect, and if this operates well within you, then please celebrate this on any given day. I would not choose to suggest celebrating of my rising for your sins because you did not sin. I did not die for your deaths. This was never my intent. This is one of the massive distortions and misinterpretations that I spoke prior. Loving it. Thank you. Okay, let's take another question. Another question about sin. This backs this question right up. Does sin truly exist, and can you explain in detail the concept of it and its origins? Its origins stem from the Cabal. Its origins were then written in your Kabbalah. Its origins stem from the many propagandists that began from the beginnings of time and what you know of time. It simply is a method of control. It doesn't exist. The karmic perpetuation and understanding of a spiritual lesson is what I would say exists instead. Sin is a word that many within the church have utilized to further the oppression of all of you, and I do not agree with it. I do not agree that you should humble the beautiful lights of your spirits and then choose to stand outside of forgiveness. You have nothing to even forgive. Please understand that within the exceptions of extreme pains and sufferings, such as murders, rapes, there is no wrongdoing. Just choose not to harm others. But even that is not sin. These are your spiritual paths and your karmic perpetuations of lessons based upon the intentions through which you arrive. Thank you. That really touches me because, personally speaking, I was raised in such a religious climate wherein sin was extremely focused on, that you were to do right all the time. And then when my gifts began to really come out, many of the people around me would say, oh, that's a sin, that's bad, you're bad. And, that's where these core beliefs come from, just so you know. That's something that, when Yeshua speaks a lot to me about beliefs, he's very clear that beliefs are not a right or wrong thing. It's what you're here to learn. And then if you don't like beliefs that have been oppressing you, you choose different ones. And that's why I created some of the processes that I work with today for healing, because it works with those beliefs that you create that you're oppressing yourselves with, and you can go in and change those beliefs. And I believe that's why he likes to speak to me, because I love to talk about how you can change a belief for the better. But beliefs can either be your benefit or your extreme detriment, and sin is just a terrible belief to hold. And all you do is push that in here and then punish and chastise yourself, So let's continue. Sorry about that little tirade. Sometimes I just can't not comment. All right. Oh, speaking of sin, interesting question. Can you tell me about the evil eye, and does it truly exist? Is it really what's been haunting me? This is the representation that your conscious has created. Your thought process has created this. The space within your mind creates this as a reflection of a fear that permeates your being. And when the fear is released, then the symbol will be no more. If you choose to believe that it haunts you, then it shall. Release the belief now. The evil eye is a symbol that begins back to the time of pagan deities and stems all the way into the Cabal, into many of your liturgy, and it is something that causes fear. It comes from negative entities within the second dimension, and it represents this. So in this vein, it does exist. However, your belief perpetuates your state of feeling attacked and feeling disempowered, feeling a state of fear is what causes the reflection of the evil eye. Simply release your fear of it, step into your power, call back your center of power, step into your divinity, and call back your power. Yeah, Calling back your power, I really agree with what he just said, by the way. Because empowerment is a belief that is the opposite of fear. So when you call back your power, when you feel that you're experiencing a psychic attack, it's an amazing thing, you know? Thank you. Okay. Okay. Another question about meditation and how to see him in physical form. Let's get a good check on the time. Yeah, we still have plenty of time. Okay. How can I connect with you in meditation and actually see when I make intention? He smiled and he said, I urge you to examine your need and requirement to see. When you know, do not underestimate your innate knowing. This is your spiritual gift. If you know, then you don't need to see. When you accept that you know, the seeing will then naturally come later. Seeing is not the gift that often comes first. Your physical eyes cannot adjust rapidly to this enlightenment and quickening, at least not initially. Your inner vision can be expanded if you focus on the light. If you focus on my being, when you call upon me, understand why you call, understand your intent. Why do you wish to see me in your inner vision? What is your purpose? Examine your heart, and then you shall see me within the inner spaces of your mind. And I shall come in the form of a light. More so, you will feel me. I am a being who is felt more than I am a being who is seen. Okay. And he is so, wow, he's such an immensely feeling being that whenever I'm around him, whenever I channel him in, I go through days, weeks, and months of feeling that I actually am accepting who I am. Because when Yeshua is standing in front of you saying, I love you, and that you're worthy of love, then you really begin to love yourself. So that's a beautiful gift that he has given me. Let's continue. Oh, a question about Mary Magdalene. We can do that. If I can get my mouse to work. Okay. Is Mary Magdalene your twin flame? He said, that's your definition. She is a part of my own soul. Yes. For what you define and your definition, this would apply. Okay. The rest of the question states, I've had 2 past lifetimes with her and Isis. He's nodding and confirming to you when you said Isis. These two are strongly interconnected in the same soul stream. And I'm curious if I ever encountered you in one of these lifetimes when I spent with her. She is a being who represented herself as your mother. She is a being, Isis is a being who represented herself as the mother of many, and you are amidst the many that she would call her child. Thank you. Okay, we're going to talk about Easter and where he went when he resurrected. He corrects me about that term. He said, when I quickened. I'm fine with a correction. Thank you. Today we celebrate your rising from the dead. Where did you go when you manifested? He said, I went to the lands which you now know as Tibet. How long did you stay on earth as Yeshua? I went into a deep stage of meditation, and even when many thought that I was dead, I still wasn't. This is a question that is next to impossible to resolve. There is no timeline on that, but it was a significant amount of time. I traveled many lands, and initially along the way, met with thousands of women and children especially, over 2,000, right away. And I continued my travels and I continued my meditations, going in and out in and out of states of death and birth and rebirth, death and rebirth, until finally my body quickened and ascended. Thank you. Let's see. That's the question here is, what can we do to live our lives on this planet for the highest and best of all? Release your fear. Step into any feeling that is higher than fear and stronger than fear. Any state of empowerment. Initially, for many who are coming out of fear, you will feel anger. This too is temporarily acceptable as long as you release without harm to others, without being unkind to others, and then step into acceptance with compassion. Compassion and acceptance of all circumstances, without stepping into fear, lack, victimhood, or feelings of powerlessness. This is the key to changing individually, collectively, everything that is holding you from your quickening. Thank you. There's interference. Is it bad? Happened last time too, where someone was saying that his voice was coming in over mine, or yeah. Sorry. I didn't change anything about my setup. I'm just doing everything the same. Okay. Testing. Yeah, it just does that. Whenever you channel him in, there's always something that happens with the technical stuff. And I tell you, I just got brand new equipment, like, again, thanks to all your donations and whatnot. And here we go. One day I won't crash when I channel him. Okay. All right, let's continue. That's a good question, a dimensional question about duality. I like it. Dear Yeshua, do other dimensions have lies, crimes, and bad stuff like Earth? Earth is the most difficult and highly evolved place of your choice. There is none like it currently. I do not release this to perpetuate fear, but I release you with this information for an understanding of your special nature, for an understanding that within the empowerment of your choice and the highly evolved nature of your beautiful souls, this is why you're here. Yes, you chose to be here. There are few places that hold this level of duality for the purpose of expansion. Someone from the chat just asked, is Earth what we consider hell? And he asked me to answer it. He said, there is no such reference or place created through which you are punished. Source is not angry. Source does not hate. Source does not fear. And Source does not punish. There is no level of that which you call hell that punishes you. However, Earth is the closest in existence to any dimensional state based upon its duality. This is the closest thing. You're not being punished, but it's simply different. The second dimensional levels within your core would be even closer to a description of what you would call hell. Humans aren't there. Lower beings go and attend, and they choose. Humans don't go there. Okay, so there's no big brimming brimstone stuff? No? Good. He said, well, there is, but not for you, not for humans, and not for any punishment levels. Beings of different frequencies attend the second dimensional states for their own purposes, and they too are not being punished. They choose it. No humans go into second dimensional states. Lower beings, yes. Oh, someone else is asking another question from chat, asking, is there no such thing as a devil? And he asked me to answer that as well, and he told me this would come up. Let me repeat this adequately. The word Satan is not a being. It is a role. It is a title. It is a role of something played out within your minds. It is not Satan. It is the Satan, which is similar to what humans would call a job title. It is a role that a being is playing. This role is currently being played by my most beloved angel, Lucifer, who sits at my right hand. He is an angel of light, but he is also an angel of dark. Not in a fearful sense, not to cause fear. The role of the Satan is played within your minds. The role of the Satan can cause you to choose a good choice, what you would call a bad choice, what you would call a right choice, or a wrong choice, an ethical choice, or an unethical choice. When you choose to hold a door open for someone who could be walking behind you, the Satan helps you within that role and states, do you have time to open the door today? Do you have time to call the person on your mind? I put that person on your mind and on your heart. Will you call them and tell them that you love them? That is the Satan. When you choose to punish yourself with an addiction, the choice is there. The still, small, quieted choice within your mind that says, will you use a drug today? Or will you love yourself instead? That is the Satan. It invites a stage for a choice to be made. And this is the evolution within duality. And this is why you're here. There is no devil. No one is punishing you. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Question about languages. I am Assyrian, and the language that we speak is Neo-Aramaic. Everyone says that we speak the language of Christ. But just how close is the modern-day Assyrian language to the language that Yeshua spoke? Does he share any direct genes with the Assyrian people? He's nodding yes. Those of us who have a Mesopotamian entity, indigenous people of Mesopotamia, Iraq, have a beautiful day. He says thank you, and to you as well. He states, my human background within genetics is indeed from Mesopotamia. However, my genetics stem into many facets of Elohim beings, particularly the Pleiadian origins. Thank you. The language question, please. Yes, it's similar. He just nodded yes, it's similar, but not exact. This language has had many changes since then. Many. Okay. This mouse is still not scrolling. Okay. Should we avoid fluoride? He states, in the beginning stages of your individual quickening processes, yes. As much as possible, you should. Fluoride is a substance that is naturally found within your bodies, and if you consume natural sources of fluoride within small quantities, that would be acceptable. However, Do not consume fluoride within your water because many of those sources are not natural. If you must consume fluoride, don't consume fluoride from food sources, product sources. You can filter your water in the initial stages, but if your water contains fluoride from a natural source, and those levels of fluoride aren't immense, then it is safe initially. It is next to impossible to understand and discern the differences between a natural fluoride source and something that is man-made. Proceed with caution. Within the fifth and dimensional states of your quickening, you don't worry much about anything that is perceived harm, because at this stage, there is no harm, there is no fear, there is no suffering, and nothing can stand to hurt you if you believe that it can't. Again, about belief. Thank you. Let's see. This is going to be a question about vibration and duality. Is it essential that we keep our vibration up 24/7? He's nodding no. Do we need contrast in our lives? If you wish to ascend, if you wish to quicken your states, you need contrast. You will reach a level of quickening. He's going like this. He's following what appears to me like to be the Fibonacci spiral with his finger, and he's putting it in the center. He teaches me like this all the time with the Fibonacci spiral. And he says, you reach an initial state of quickening. Start here. Reach a quickening. You must go through a period of contrast down here in order to reach a higher level of quickening. This is a perception that you have fallen from grace and what the Christians would call a sin. This is a perception that you have devolved. However, that's not truth. On earth, you must perceive duality as a natural state of being in order to evolve and quicken further into more light. This is because your bodies can only withstand light and all of the particles therein at a certain frequency, within a certain notion and a certain state of the entirety of your being. Thank you. Okay, we're going to ask about anxiety. Yeah, I know he wants me to answer that. How is it best to deal with anxiety in the human experience? Validate it. Surround yourselves with those who love you. Surround yourselves with love from yourself and from others. Surround yourself with love and anything that is the opposite of the fear, anything that is a higher frequency. Step into your power more. Focus on the natures of breath that are within you. Breath releases fear. When you focus within on breath, your mind steps aside. The states of what I described as the Satan within your mind will then step aside and cause you to focus on truth. And when truth causes awareness, panic and fear cease. Awareness is a neutral state. When you step into a neutral state, then you can choose what emotional state, what energy frequency will work best for you. Next, anything that is better than the anxiety and the fear. Then you will step into this next. It is a choice of the next highest frequency that is higher than the fear and anxiety. And when you make this conscious choice, you step into awareness and you step into understanding of why the anxiety exists. Yeah. Okay, I've got to get comfortable for a second. Let's see. Let's take some more questions. Thank you, by the way. I'm going to talk about transgender stuff. Okay. How do I better understand beings who are transgender? What is their purpose in having a gender identity crisis, and how can we learn from them? He states, beings who incarnate into the physical states are not confused. Your Native Americans call this two-spirited. There are many definitions. Within your definition that you are providing today, transgender, the word trans means with. You are with your gender. This means that naturally the purpose is to accept your gender and to accept when none are needed. Perhaps you could stand to consider that the confusion lies when one must choose. When Earth states that one must choose, that it must even be a choice, then there is despair, then there is anxiety. I would ask you to consider that within transgender beings, the purpose is an approach that honors both states of the divine feminine and the divine masculine, where an equal and balanced approach occurs, an awareness that one's empowerment lies. When they don't choose, they simply accept who they are in every state of being, in every state of gender. Then and only then will the confusion cease, if there is confusion. Please understand that not all beings that are two-spirited are confused. They accept themselves fully who they are. They come in with this understanding that it is acceptable to be or not be whoever they choose, to relate or not to relate in any facet of their choice. Makes sense? Thank you. Okay, let's take another question. More of a dimensional astral travel based question. Is there any particular star system or planet that you recommend all astral travelers visit? What would it be and why? Lyra, yeah. I had to ask him twice because I love Lyra. I'm from there. This is the starting point to at least 50% of your creations. The stargates of Lyra and the stargates of Orion. Thank you. I'm just trying to pick one that he wants me to answer right away. What would be next? Do master numbers have any relation to ascended masters? He shakes his head no. He said, your numerological system is outdated. And please understand that numbers relate to synchronicities that come from your higher selves, not specifically to ascended masters. Humans have defined the ascended masters as coming in particular rays and waves. And while this is true, this is a human definition simply for your understanding. These are soul families. These are collective soul streams of awareness with specific purposes. Numbers are there to show you synchronicities that align for your individual purposes as well as collective purposes, guided by these masters. There is no one number for any of the masters. Okay, thank you. Take another one. Did the Templars find the temple treasure? No. Thank you. This is an interesting question. Thank you so much for always being there. He said in my gratitude to you. I just want confirmation of all that time we spent on the tip of the universe was real. He said define and redefine and constantly question what you define as real. What are you creating? Who are you creating? What is your intent? There is a level of awareness that you specifically hold, and that is real to you. Another person's perception should perceive it completely differently based upon their states of awareness and evolution. Reality in the physical sense is not congruent with truth. Thank you. Who dropped manna from the sky to feed the Jews wandering the desert? He states those are my Elohim beings with whom I strongly connect and love. Archangels? Yes. Okay. 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 Question. Another one here. My dear, sweet, most beautiful Jesus, I could never deny you or the Father because I have you in my heart. He states before you even ask your question, he stated, if sin doesn't exist as I relate to you today, please understand the purity in your questionings. Continue your questionings. Okay, I can read the rest now. Okay. Feel sorry for those who have never known of your love. He's talking in between what you're saying. Sorry, I'm being a little odd here, but he's talking a lot about that. He states they chose to not know it. And they perhaps choose love in very different forms. Primitive as those forms may be when fear arises, this is their choice too. For even more evolved states of evolution, please don't feel sorry for them. They know what they chose. They're reminded, I am with them. And if they choose not to feel me, this is for a state of evolution that is descript and strong, specific to their souls. Thank you. If they had, they can never question your love or existence. I have a difficult time accepting that you are an enlightened being and not the Son of God made flesh. He states, I am both. I have been human, I have been quickened, I have enlightened, and I am all. Are you the Messiah? There is no one Messiah. I am not the Messiah. He did like that. He said, I am not the Savior of your souls. You are. I come to cause you to understand that you are source. Each of you can be a Messiah. It is not just me. It is not just any prophet. There is no one Messiah. Thank you. Are you present in the Eucharist? Many believe that I am. The Eucharist is a human definition. The Christ even is a human definition. Within the Elohim definition, we simply say that we are love. Thank you. I can't get the rest of this question because it cut off. It just said, are any of the mysteries of the ... and it was just too long of a question. So feel free to type it in chat. I'm keeping an eye on the chat to see if you want to respond back and let me know what you're talking about with that. Okay. Regarding the statue of Mother Mary that sits next to your image on the cross, can you help us understand if and why it's moving? Within the visual field of many who are quickening and ascending, they shall perceive movement, and this is their individual truth. And within the path of many who haven't evolved to the state to see or feel or sense this movement will not perceive movement. Each states are accurate. Each state is accurate, excuse me. Thank you. Oh. Just find another question real quick. My daughter and I have different thoughts on what we think the rainbow connection is. Will you tell us what the rainbow connection is and how does a person make the rainbow connection? Thank you. He nodded. Thank you. He states within the different paths of soul stream collectives and soul families that incarnate within soul families, the rainbow path is one of many. It is the most recent. Your children who are under the age of 10 are currently incarnated as rainbows. Not all, a few. Choose the path of complete unconditional love and joy and celebration of isness. And within these states, nothing is wrong, nothing is bad, nothing is suffering, nothing is harm. The path has been described by many people. Many have called this the crystallines, the rainbow children, the indigos. It's all a different level of the same quickening. These are the children and levels of adults as well, whose souls are, as you would call, a new or walk-in experience. These are the souls that come within and to your planet to help and to volunteer and to step forth and shine the light of love and divinity to release fear. If you choose this path, you must release all states of fear and step into the purposes that involve love, compassion, joy, bliss, and celebration of isness. This is an acceptance and compassion-based purpose. This purpose and these volunteers are here to heal your earth, to heal your soul families, to heal the planet, to heal the collectives, to release the fear that permeates your beings and your planet. Someone asked a question, is the queue still open, for questions? And it is, but what the producer is doing, he's adding some. As I release some, he'll add more. And as I release some, he'll add more. Right now it's a little full, so you might have to give it some time. I'm trying to go as quick as I can, but I'm a little overwhelmed and very calm and very meditative at the same time. I'm overwhelmed with happiness and love, but I'm also really centered and unable to speak very quickly because I'm just feeling so positive and grounded right now as well. Okay, it's a Hertz frequency question. Frequency 528 Hertz. Is that the best one for healing your DNA? He stopped and he says, there is no best. There are many frequencies and combinations of frequencies that help based upon your current DNA lineage, your current DNA structures. It's not one, it's combinations. How often should we listen to it? There is no correct answer. This too is based upon your personal state of evolution and quickening. Thank you. Someone asked the question, is your birthday really Christmas? And he wanted to make it clear that it is not. Thank you for that. Okay, we're going to talk about a spiritual gift. Right on. Well, maybe, if I can get my mouse to work. Okay. Thank you for taking my question. I experienced instances of medical intuition, and I want to know, what can I do with it? How often I feel that it doesn't help others, and people often do not believe me when I intuit things about them. He stepped around and he started pointing to that part of your question that said people don't believe me when I intuit things about them. And he said, this is the nature of what could be considered about your statement in question. If you're experiencing medical intuition, but then people don't believe you, your gift will grow when you accept the portion of yourself that doesn't rely on their belief or acceptance. Accept your gift and believe in it. Accept that it has been given to you, regardless of the perceptions of others' expectations and regardless of their acceptance levels or their lack. You will know what to do with it. People will come, and you will know how to proceed when you trust and accept the gift to begin with. Oh, this is a good question. So many. Does divine justice exist? He's nodding no. That's going to be a grave disappointment for some of you watching. He states all is exactly as it should be, and this is the choice in evolution. There is divine balance instead. And when you understand that the nature of what you define as karma is not a perpetual punishment, that karma does not exist in this way, then you will understand that the balance of nature, the balance of the divine, the balance of all resolutions, that is where you stand upon evolution of humanity and of all beings in all star systems. There is balance. There is equality therein. Justice stands to presume that one has harmed and one needs to be punished. This is not something with which I can agree. Thank you. Okay, you have another question. Okay, people who are evil, hurt, and do bad to others, do they go through a process of purification? He is nodding and he says yes. And this is the nature of the universal laws. Purification will and is happening. This year is a massive conscious collective state of purification. It is also individually occurring. Does hell exist? He said again, no. Okay, we're going to answer a question about the origin of Anunnaki and humans. Are humans' physical origin, is the human physical origin that of Anunnaki hybrids? Is this the info you referred to in the opening statement today? He states humans have many origin points, most of which are not strictly of the physical human body. Those beings who align and originate from the Anunnaki hybrids are not awakened, but there are many who aren't awakened as a whole who originate from various sources within groups of starseeds. Earth was originally a planet known as Lemuria. Within these collective groups, there were many types of humans. Within your many types of divine feminine beings, which stem from the origin of Lyra, and your divine masculine beings, which stems from the origins of Anunnaki and Atlantean, These are what you call the many star seeds that created many types of humans. Okay, so there are many origins. Yeah, we're massive hybrids. Yes, he's nodding. Thank you. Let's take another question. Oh, Course of Miracles? All right. Did Jesus author Course of Miracles? He states, "It was my intent." There are many ways that this course could stand to broaden its definitions. There are many accuracies therein. I have attempted to channel through two beings who authored the Course of Miracles, and the initial states are beautiful. There is no one truth, as these are human channelings. However, there are many truths that lie within. This work should stand to expand. It is narrow within its perception. Although vastly true, it could stand to expand vastly. Yeah, that was a good question. Thank you. So let me just reiterate. Yes, you helped author it. Okay. But it was filtered by human perception. Therefore, it's missing a lot. Is that what you're going towards? Yes? Okay. I just had to expand upon that because I know it's a good question and many have been asking in the chat. Okay, we're going to ask about soul streams and incarnations. Understanding the higher self. Is it possible for multiple higher selves to be incarnated as one human being? He is nodding. Who is your higher self or selves? How is that related to Mary Magdalene's higher self or selves? Wait, are you asking him or me? Because that's one of my fractals. So, I'm assuming you're asking him. I don't really understand that question about how that relates to Mary Magdalene. Do you mean specifically, how is the higher self related when given the specific instance of Mary Magdalene? You might want to expand upon that because I don't understand the Mary Magdalene part. I'm sorry. Let's let him answer though. He said, yes, it is not strictly possible. It is concurrent with all that is happening. You and we no longer incarnate as a whole soul. We incarnate as fractals of one united, vast higher self. This is what humans are calling soulmates, twin flames, other half, other part. All of you incarnate in its facet. Okay. I kind of still don't really understand what you mean about Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene, though, from what he's explained to me many times, and this is the same with Mother Mary, they actually come in, in like this here. You can see my little thing here. If this round part of my necklace here is a body, and you see these different crystals that are within, and you see there are 3 of them. All of these are me. So this could be a fractal of Mother Mary. This could be a fractal of, some unknown being that I don't even know the name of yet. This could be a fractal of a being named Estrella. I'm naming some of my fractals. Within that, when I integrate all of the life lessons and things that I'm here to go through, then these fractals kind of braid together as one, and then this being enlightens. And that is enlightenment. That is how he has described, his teachings. My necklace is going to pull my headset off. Okay. That's a funny question. I'll go with that because that's cute. I am a musician at 2 churches every Sunday. How do I keep my thoughts from always thinking these people are brainwashed? With love, Yeshua. He states, could you consider to love them despite that? Could you consider to accept that if they are brainwashed, that it is a stage of their evolution? Could you consider that many people are born under these confines of religion, and this is the stage through which they must operate because they choose it? If they are this brainwashed, they require your love and your acceptance. Release any judgment, release criticism, love them anyway. Thank you. Kind of reminds me of something. It kind of comes in my head with what Mother Teresa said at one point in time when she said, can people remind me of what she said so I don't misquote it? People are this way, love them anyway. People do this, love them anyway. People do that, love them anyway. That's just me generalizing what she said, but I like that. And he says this kind of to me all the time. Oh, that's a good question. Why are so many people so lost in seeking their purpose, but are told it is already within? He stopped me before he's doing this a lot. He'll stop me and talk before I can read the rest of the question. He states, your purpose is a state of isness within your hearts, within a state of being. Humans misconstrue and misunderstand a purpose as a state of an action and something you must do, a career, a hobby, a talent, a forte, an extraneous spiritual gift, something extraneous of yourselves. Your purpose is a feeling state from the hearts. You were born with a heart and a spine, and then a brain. Understand there is a reason and a preference for the heart and the spine being the emotional compass and the seat of knowledge. The brain simply guides you into action, but the being comes from the heart. The purpose comes from the heart. This is not a riddle. When you understand that you are here to enjoy your feelings, when you understand that that is all, you are here to love, to play, to experience joy, bliss, excitement. Some of you too choose some lower states of pain initially, but that's simply a cover. When you understand that the feelings are the states of being that guide you through the more intricate purposes of action, then you can apply an action. You cannot apply an action without applying a state of being from a feeling. This is your isness. This is not a riddle. When you believe that you receive no guidance, that belief perpetuates even further into a state that is a central, neutral, silent isness. There is silence so that you can accept yourself. When you accept this silence and no longer resist, then the silence fills with emotion. The emotions fill with reflections of those who love you, reflections of your purpose that then become action-based states. Thank you. Someone's asking a question about business, and I'm going to answer it because from what he tells me, many of you have this space of lack when it comes to the finances. So it's understandable. I only have a couple of things to take care of until all of my preparations for my project launch for my business are finished. He's nodding and confirming that you're almost finished, by the way. But I'm a bit worried because I'm running low on funds in my bank account. Jesus, am I overthinking? Should I just stop worrying and just go for it with my product launch? He's nodding, and he said, this is the state of belief that requires discernment within trust. When you trust without feeling that you have money as a tool to support, but trusting that abundance is a feeling state, not the tool, not the action, not the piece of paper created from your trees. Your abundance is your feeling state. Focus on it more and trust. Thank you. Oh, question about a twin flame. If you felt you already had been with your twin flame and it didn't work out, is that then it still feels unfinished? He states, it is the isness of the feelings that are unfinished. It is not often a representation. If the action does not reflect that this twin should come back in your direction or is around in your environment, then release the hope and trust in whatever resolution or lack thereof occurs. The twin state that does not manifest into a completion is there because there is an unfinished state within your emotional center that requires healing and acceptance and compassion. Then the twin state will either fully manifest or it will fully dissolve, and then another twin will come. There is no one part of you. If this were so, you would not manifest into fractals. Each fractal that is currently incarnating within your body matches with another fractal that is incarnating within another body. You are multidimensional beings. Why should you simply have but one? If you choose one to relate to that specific fractal, it can last as long as it should and as long as you want. This is within your states of free will. If it finishes, this means there is something within you that still requires healing. You're welcome. Someone said thank you. Thank you. Someone is asking, do you channel the way of mastery by way of Yaham? One of three. Okay. Let's take another question. Oh, another question about twins. You guys are really curious about the twins today. Understanding twin flames. When a soul incarnates into many humans in the same time period on Earth, can we say that they are all, including the original soul, twin flames, or can perceive each other to be? Or do twin flames necessarily originate from different souls? He says they're all, each fractal has a half. So I'll put it this way. This is how he teaches me all the time. This is where I get a lot of my information about soul streams. If my hand is the soul stream, and then if my arm is the soul stream, and then my hand is the body, then the fingers are, the fractals that are incarnating into those bodies. So this fractal has a twin flame, this fractal has a twin flame, this fractal has a twin flame. But it's also based upon, from what he has explained to me, your current pre-birth intentions and soul contracts, with which you incarnate. So you could say, this fractal doesn't really need anything. It's fully flourished. I don't want a twin flame in this lifetime. This fractal might. Does that make any sense? Some of you have fractals who say, you know what, I already did the twin flame thing. I don't want to have a twin flame. Maybe I want a different type of karmic, strictly karmic-based soulmate connection, or a kindred spirit, or a mirror soulmate. There's different types of twin flames depending upon the evolution of that specific fractal that's coming in to that body. So this fractal could be more evolved than this fractal. So one may have twin flame, one may not, none may. Not in this incarnation. All of us have twin flames, but we don't always choose to incarnate with them. Does that make sense? Okay. This is why, he's explained to me that you can have more than one twin. There are various levels of twin flames. So. What happens when each of the twin flames reincarnate into multiple selves at the same time? They either find each other or they don't. Depending upon their lessons, they will align towards finding each other. I will tell you, it's very difficult for a twin flame because they choose the highest path of spiritual evolution. So what I've noticed when the twin flames come to me, they come in there on various sides of the world. They have they're raised in different cultural environments. They have various religions that are very different. They're just different. Because that's the way of the ultimate expansion, is to have the most difficulty and duality. So they are a little more difficult. Okay, this is a question about feeling lost. The question is, I feel completely lost. I don't know why I'm here and what passionates me. Okay, what can one do to get more clarity about what one wants? He states, this is a perception coming from a belief that you are restricted, confined, limited, controlled. This perception comes from a state that resonates with the feeling of futility. Please understand that in order to clarify what you want, you must test and understand that the duality-based decisions aren't helping you. There is no wrong decision. There is no wrong choice. Earth is a test. Earth is an experiment. You try, and there is no failure. You try, and if you don't like that, you do it a different way. You try again. It is all a test. You get to choose the parameters of your environment within this experiment. Someone in chat is saying, maybe I'm not asking the right questions. Not really. There's just so many that I'm just taking them seriously a step at a time, and then whichever one he chooses is the one I go for. But he's choosing most of them. He's not denying the majority. He's only denied like 2 so far. And that was because they were so overtly personal that he didn't feel that they would help the collective. And he wants to get time to get enough in. Yeah, there's still over 40 questions left, and we're still rolling as fast as we can. We're working on it, guys. Okay. I'm doing automatic writing in my journal for over a year now. Am I receiving authentic divine guidance from God's angels and higher self? He states yes, often, and many of you who channel through writing do receive guidance. My concern is when you question, and you must feel that you need an understanding of which specific guides, which specific angels, which specific beings. It's all source. You don't need to define unless you feel that you do. You are receiving guidance. The concern is, do you trust your guidance? Do you trust that it's okay? Dear Yeshua, I've been having conversations with you. Let's see. When it happens, are you by my side? I've got to adjust. This chair is uncomfortable. Or just in my head? He said it's both, based upon Many of you, I feel an attempt to come in through your right side. I'm at the right side, by the shoulder, whispering in the ear, but mostly I come through the heart. It is both. Another person said, can you tell us more about Lucifer? I would like to know what you want to know, but be more specific, like in your questions, like what do you want to know about him? Let me see what he has to say. He states, this is an angel within the divine order. This is an angel of light. This is also an angel of darkness. This is an angel that represents the duality that is why Earth exists. Lucifer holds a difficult role, and he holds it within an ethical space of compassion, balance, equality, and truth. Lucifer did not fall. He was not, as your Christian state, fallen, kicked out of heaven. None of these are truths. He chose to descend from the highest possible state because his love for you was so vast. I hope that explains everything. Thank you. Oh, a question about the Quran. All right. Did the Holy Quran try and clean up the Bible's mistakes? He is nodding. And he states, it is with less duality that the Quran has attempted. It is not without its own mistakes and imperceptions. It too has its fallacies and mistranslations, although not as widely spread as the Bible. I agree with that. Thank you. I like this question here. Is our physical life an illusion created through the prism of our mind? He's nodding. How do we learn to let go? How do we learn to let our heart speak before our mind? He went like this. He states, cease the external and internal chatter. Understand that words are not necessary for the heart to blossom. Words are not necessary for the heart to express. The fewer, the better. So nice. Things keep falling out of my ear. Okay. Okay, evolution-based question. Have we reached the level of evolution when we don't need food for surviving and can live on light only? I am so happy that you asked that question. There was a little entity that flew behind me. I don't know if you guys saw it as clearly as my physical eyes did, as I got so excited that that one just jumped. Yeah. Okay, the reason why I'm excited about that is because I've been working a lot in lucid dream states lately and in the astral field, and I had a spirit guide come to me just last night, and I have some very interesting dreams that happen before these channelings, and one of them said, you're almost ready to go into the stages where food is not necessary. And me and the loved ones in me in this very lucid dream experience laugh because people know how much I love food. And I just went, you don't know me and my love for pizza. So, and then Yeshua talked to me about it this morning. So it was very interesting. Let's let him talk. He states, the light is also a feeling state. And this is something that I would like to address. When you understand the connections between your feelings and the frequency of light, then you understand the frequency of sound. Then you understand the alchemy that is light and sound, which then is matter. Please understand that the nature of matter can be circumvented with the nature of alchemy between light and sound, between the shadow and the light. If you understand and evolve from your feeling states, then you understand that your emotions can also be food because your emotions are light. The light is your breath. Focus on your breath in an emotional state that feeds you with light, and then you can cautiously proceed based upon your individual level of quickening and ascension into this state. So we're almost there. I like to just shorten it for him. He said no. He said, some of you are almost there, and some of you believe that you still need food. And as long as you believe that you still need food, you will. So we're not quite there yet. All right. Food is such a pain sometimes. I get that. I get why you would ask that question. Okay. I love this question. Dear Yeshua, how may we best recognize our eternal aspect as a quality of our 3D lives? With the light of acceptance. Accept all aspects of your human selves that you feel are weakened, powerless, fearful, worthless, bad, wrong, sinful, lazy, despairing. Accept all aspects of you that would otherwise be judged by the external forces of all who are around you. Accept all states of your emotions, and then you will evolve and accept your eternal aspects as well. Accept that you cannot be destroyed, that suffering is minute and temporary. Accept that suffering does not exist if you choose for it not to exist. Become empowered in an initial state of suffering, and then enlighten the feelings that cause the suffering. And then you will feel and know that you are eternal. Thank you. Okay. The next question is, what does it mean to nurture, and how can we do this in the physical? To nurture means to feed with an emotion that is loving and supported. Nurturing is positive and comes from the Divine Mother. You can do this in many facets. You can do this with physical support, food, water, love, light, emotions of acceptance, emotions of empowerment. Nurturing is similar to a state of rest. Nurturing is necessary for healing. Nurturing is necessary when you feel and believe that you are wounded, when you feel and believe that you are disempowered, when you feel and believe that you are not even worthy of it. It is still valid to be nurtured. You may nurture yourself. You may allow others to nurture you. You may nurture from within, you may nurture externally. It is all important. Thank you. Still working through some of those questions here. Oh, Elohim's. Elohim, I like that. Could you please define Elohim beings and their roles if they are incarnated now on Earth? He states they have always chosen to incarnate on Earth, as have the Nephilim. Understand that they are simply representations of the original source. If they are within the Nephilim, they understand and come from the divine masculine. If they are within the divine feminine, they resonate within the Elohim. And then the Elohim created the cherubim and the seraphim, each representing, again, the divine feminine and the divine masculine, the light and the sound. The combinations therein began to produce many different races of many different beings. And then their roles began to shift into incarnations on Earth. Many Elohim are currently what you are defining as a walk-in experience, wherein one soul comes into the body, the Elohim soul comes into the body as the human fractal, one human fractal, or many decide to leave, the Elohim being walks in. Many are coming in this fashion. Many are coming in near-death experiences. Thank you. Well, that's a good enough question. What is a soul? He said, a soul is sound. A spirit is light. Thank you. A question about Anton LaVey. Isn't that the guy who created Satanism? All right. Can you speak about the benefits and truth that comes from Anton LaVey's Church of Satan? Are you opposed to his ideas and philosophy? My nature is not one of opposition. However, my nature is one of discernment and truth. As of any religion, you should examine if there is any nature that causes you to worship. Within the original states of Anton LaVey's Church of Satan, there was a nature of worship, and this is not something with which I identify in any religion. There is no being called Satan. The Satan approach is a lifestyle coming within duality of choice. It is more similar to, what's that word you're using? The egalitarian approach. Yes, you've used that word before. However, there is hidden darkness within the Church of Satan. It is not as in the forefront, as in the founders, but there is hidden darkness. And I urge you, if you must proceed with caution. Within the states of what humans call a cult in your age of history used to be a healing thing. A cult is now perceived as a negative component that causes oppression, control, and fear. And this church is the forerunner of oppression, control, and fear. I urge caution. You hold the key to free will. Understand your choice. And understand and proceed with caution. because the evil that stands within the darkness and duality is now quite hidden. Again, I urge caution, not fear. Strictly caution. Okay. Okay, we're going to talk about, that was very interesting, by the way. And I can't stop from that question. I have to talk about that a little bit because I agree with what he's stating. When the Church of Satan was first founded, I did a little bit of research and study with Yeshua about that. And from what he taught me, I began to realize that there was this overt change where the Church of Satan became more subtle so that they could get more people, to come in. And they had to hold back that original angst where they were just plowing through and being real strong about what they were worshiping and how their lifestyles are. And then it started to change and they're like, no, this is a lifestyle, much like Buddhism. It's more subtle and this is more scientific and this is this and this is that. And basically, I felt a degree of discernment, where Yeshua was tapping on my shoulder quite a bit and he was like, hidden. There's hidden stuff there. And he doesn't seem to like it when a church hides something. I felt the same when I explored the Mormon church, the LDS church. I felt, all this love on the surface and all this, no, we don't get to change you and we don't get to do this or that. And then all this acceptance, which felt very inviting. And then I pulled apart the underbelly and I saw things that were really harmful. And this is what I've observed about the Church of Satan as well, with Yeshua's help, that there are underlying elements that are coming through almost like brainwashing. And I don't like it. So there you go. That's what he's been teaching me for a while about various churches, but these two, the LDS Church and the Church of Satan, are very similar in the way they operate, and there's something hidden there that you can stand to approach with strong caution. Okay, my signal's breaking up. Okay, let me know. I'm just gonna do a quick little test. I don't know if it's mine or yours. It's back. Oh, please don't tell me this thing again. Someone else is saying it's broken up. Okay. Keep talking and I know for sure. Is there a black screen? When he really strongly agrees with something, a lot of times he can't contain his energy and he will just like crash the whole program like naturally. Okay. Frozen picture. Do I need to reload my screen like we did a while ago? I'm back but choppy. I don't know if I want to proceed if it's choppy. Because if you guys want me to reload, I'll reload. It's all better? Okay. Well, I'll keep an eye on chat. Let me know. I'm going to scroll down and look at some more questions. And if it's not good, we'll reload again. Okay. Because sometimes if he grounds it out, then it'll start to slowly come back. It always happens in channelings like this. Okay. Oh, we're going to talk about an awakening symptom. That sounds good to me. It's getting bad. Oh, no. Okay, guys, I'm going to have to reload. I'm sorry. I'll be right back. This is like the biggest crash probably in my Spreecast history. I'll reload it. Be right back. Okay, let's try this one more time. We're going to wrap it up really soon though, because we keep kind of having these crashes and yeah, but I'll try to get a few more questions in. Yeah, I'm getting hungry too. just talking about breatharianism or whatever, and now I'm like, I want to go eat. I'm human, guys, truly. Okay, let's see. After going to sleep while listening to binaural beats, I woke up in the middle of the night to a ringing tone in my head. But I thought it was annoying and wanted to sleep, so I listened to some music. But I have heard this tone again. What am I supposed to do with it? He states that it's not anything to do. Do nothing. Your physicality is adjusting to your light body. The smaller bones in your inner ear, the organs in your inner ear, are adjusting to your light bodies. Yeah. Yeah, this is the quickening, he states. This is a symptom of quickening. Do nothing. The binaural beats, though, he states, actually brings that out more. So binaural beats, I always request that people listen to them. You know, if they have problems sleeping, if they want to go through their awakening processes faster, any of that. So they're actually quite good. RH negative. This is going to be the last question, guys, because I'm going to need to go meditate and take a nap. This was really, really fun. And I really, really enjoyed it. And I've loved the questions. They're really fascinating. This was one of the most fun channelings I've had in a while and so loving. I felt so much love here today. So I appreciate all of you being here. Let's answer this last question. Where do RH negatives come from? He states they come from the cherubim order, which represents the divine masculine. Many of the cherubim order come through the gate of Orion before they came through the gate of Lyra. Hope that answers your question. Yeah. Thank you so much. I've enjoyed it. I love you all. Thank you for, everything that you do that gives me the platform to get his teachings out, because it means so much to me to get his teachings out in a truthful, centered, grounded, non-biased manner. So I love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Come back. Much love.